What's going on, everyone? So, Lakers took the L in game one against Minnesota. Now, again, I don't think it's the end of the world. Lakers, LeBron, historically are known to lose game ones, right? Even in their 2020 championship run, they lost game one. It happens, right? But I do think that, again, Minnesota is a team that really poses some challenges. I think Minnesota is a team that, they're going to be a tough matchup regardless. One of the reasons I didn't want to play Minnesota in round one, kind of wanted to get that first round out of the way. It's why I wanted to play the Warriors. I thought, if we played Minnesota in the second round or the conference finals or something like that, although we probably wouldn't have played them till the conference finals. But point was, team like them, Denver, although I think that we would beat those teams, I wanted to kind of get through the hurdles and hiccups that you needed to get through in round one. Right? Lakers were going to have some struggles. I talked about it, right? So first playoffs for JJ Redick, first playoffs with Luka on the Lakers, first playoffs for LeBron, Luka, and Austin Reeves, right? You're going to have some learning curves. You're going to have some hiccups. Lakers got a week off, right? So they got the rest, which was good, but guys were shooting excellent, were in rhythm, Lakers were hot, and then you go and cool that down by taking a week off and then jumping into the postseason, right? Talked about Lakers might lose a game or two in the first round that they wouldn't have lost otherwise if they had the experience together to kind of work on things, right? But again, I do still trust the Lakers win this series, right? I didn't expect the Lakers to go 16-0 in the playoffs. I expected Minnesota to be a hard series. Talked about if Lakers can take advantage of their advantages, I just think their advantages outweigh Minnesota's advantages, right? I think both teams have some clear obvious advantages, right? But I just think the Lakers are harder for Minnesota to overcome if that happens, right? When LeBron James and Austin Reeves are no-shows, right? And Luka's the only guy balling out for you, and Jared Vanderbilt's essentially your second best player in the game, right? Like, you're not winning very many games that way. We need Austin Reeves to be better. We need LeBron to be better, right? Again, I'm not saying LeBron was horrible defensively. I thought he was really good, but, we need him to be better. Again, game ones, LeBron notoriously likes to kind of coast game one, feel it out game, figure it out game, and then he makes the adjustments and does what he needs to do to win the next game, right? So again, I trust the Lakers. Game two is going to be an absolute must win. I think we all know that. I think we're all very aware of that situation. But I do think that this Minnesota series, particularly in round one, is a very good test for the Lakers. I think this matchup against Minnesota poses a lot of obstacles, a lot of challenges that the Lakers are going to have to overcome that is going to bode very well as we progress into the playoffs, if we progress throughout the playoffs, assuming we beat Minnesota, right? Because the second round will be, in my opinion, much easier for the Lakers because you're playing either the Warriors, who I wanted to play in the first round. I really like that matchup, right? And then, or you're playing Houston, who, again, I think is a very favorable matchup for the Lakers. So I like those matchups better for the Lakers than Minnesota, right? I think Minnesota, again, is a good matchup for the Lakers when the Lakers are firing on all cylinders and everything's cooking. I just don't think Minnesota is going to be able to beat that version of the Lakers 4 times. Now, if we get the version of the Lakers we saw in game one 4 times, then yes, I think Minnesota is going to beat the Lakers 4 times, right? I think there is a version of this where the Lakers could rattle off the next 4 games. I'm not saying that they will. I don't think it's very likely. I said that I thought they would go in 6 games. The Lakers won the first 2 games. I thought maybe 5. But my point is, if the Lakers play their best version of basketball, I believe that they will be able to beat Minnesota rather swiftly. But they have to play that version of basketball. But regardless, Minnesota gives the Lakers some tough matchups that are going to bode well against teams such as, the Denver Nuggets or the Los Angeles Clippers, teams like that, where, they have that big imposing center and they have guys that can stretch the floor and knock down the 3 ball. Right? So Lakers are going to have to kind of figure out how do we contain shooters while also, trying to mask and hide our interior inabilities or interior inefficiencies in a way to win this game. Right? And I think part of it, Lakers got to stop overhelping. I think they overhelped way too much. I think you need to allow one-on-one matchups to be more prevalent. Stay home on guys, right? Like if Anthony Edwards drops 40, but you take everyone out of the game, right? It's not going to matter, right? I do want to slow down Anthony Edwards. I do think that he is their engine, but Anthony Edwards was shredding the Lakers. Just being aggressive, creating that dribble penetration, kick out to shooters. Lakers were overcommitting, overhelping, and he was making us pay, right? And to the credit of his teammates, they were knocking down shots. Lakers guys weren't knocking down shots, right? So Minnesota has the defense, has the offense, right? They're one of the only teams in the playoffs that have a top 10 defense and a top 10 offense. They're one of the few players in the league that had both, right? They're like, one of three, I believe, right? Thunder were one of them, right? Boston was the other, and then I think Minnesota, where they were top 10 defense and offense, right? So, unless you play the Thunder in Boston, you're not going to face a matchup like this, right? So I do think that this is a very good kind of test to work through the things that you need to work through, to kind of figure some stuff out for those potential future matchups, to where now the Lakers kind of have an idea and have things kind of figured out enough to where they can immediately jump into the swing of things if they were to play a Clippers team, or they were to play a Denver, right? Or even OKC to an extent. Now, OKC, I think is a more favorable matchup. But I said, in my opinion, best case scenario was, Warriors, Rockets, Thunder, right? I thought that was the easiest possible path the Lakers could have into the NBA to get to the NBA Finals. Lakers could have that path if they get through Minnesota, right? Because again, Minnesota is one of the few teams that can really punish the Lakers on the interior, right? Or one of the few teams that have the guys that can just cause the Lakers some issues, right? Rudy Gobert isn't this offensive monster, right? He's not, even an Ibaka Zubac, right? He's definitely not a Nikola Jokic, but he is a big physical presence that can, one of the things that the Lakers had trouble with was the physicality, right? And it's one of the reasons I didn't want to play Minnesota. I talked about Minnesota's physicality concerns me, right? I talked about this in live streams. I talked about it going out. A lot of people disagreed with me and really wanted to avoid the Warriors, which is fine. Everyone has their kind of, ideal matchup and situation. But game one was an exact kind of scenario of what I was talking about, right? Like exact kind of scenario of what. But that doesn't mean the Lakers can't overcome that. They have to match their physicality, their intensity, and their effort. If the Lakers do that, then that's fine. Right? Lakers have those advantages, particularly LeBron James and Luka Doncic, and then Austin Reeves when he's cooking and doing his thing. But, I do think Minnesota is potentially our toughest roadblock, right? Depending on how, obviously, the conference final shows up, if Lakers are get to the conference finals. Again, I don't ever want to undersell the Houston Rockets or the Golden State Warriors. Both teams, I think, are very good teams. Don't get me wrong. But I like those matchups more, right? Like Houston and the Warriors are not going to be physically imposing on us, right? They're not going to be able to dominate us on the interior. I know Şengün, he can do some stuff, but Rui has the strength to match up with Şengün, right? Like Dorian Finney-Smith has the strength to kind of match up better with Şengün, right? Like I prefer those matchups more. So if the Lakers can get through this Timberwolves series, I believe that they'll make the conference finals bare minimum. I think that they'll beat whoever it is, whether it's the Warriors or the Rockets in the second round. But they have to get through this series. Right. And again, you never want to overreact over one game. Even if the Lakers beat Minnesota by 40, right? Like, you never want to overact, right? Like if this was a Thunder and Memphis game one scenario, I still wouldn't want to overreact, right? Because again, especially come playoffs, you see it. Games change so much game to game. Teams make adjustments. Guys have bad nights. You're playing the same team over and over and over and over again. Eventually, you'll see teams just kind of figure it out. You see kind of that light bulb moment go off, and everyone's like, oh, okay, now we got it. Right? We figured it out. We know how to beat this team. And then, you see it all the time. Team will go down 2-0, and then all of a sudden rattle off 4 straight wins, right? Lakers have done it. Teams have done it. Miami's done it, right? Dwayne Wade did it with when Dallas, right, was in the finals, was down 0-2, right? Like, it happens all the time, right? Like, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Giannis do it a couple seasons ago in the finals too, right? Down 0-2, I think, against the Suns, right? And then rattled off. But point is that I do think that this is a very good test for the Lakers. I think that personally, this is a more challenging, daunting test than a Houston or Warriors test would be in round 2, right? Because the Warriors, you kind of know what you need to do, right? Minnesota, Lakers overcompensated for the lack of interior size, and Minnesota punished them. So they just learned, can't do that, right? Because if you leave them wide open all game, they're going to knock down shots, right? So now the Lakers have to make those adjustments and figure it out, right? But if you play a Clipper team or you play a Nuggets team, guess what you're not going to be able to do? You're not going to be able to just leave guys wide open and, overcompensate for your lack of interior size. So I think that this is good for the future for the Lakers. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question on you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? What are your thoughts? Do you agree with me? Disagree with me? Kind of mixed in the middle. However you feel, whatever your thoughts are. Either way, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So we enjoy these types of videos. I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.